Guys, the SEC is hemmed in on all sides by three different lawsuits. We all know about the Hinman docs, even though it doesn't really help the XRP case all that much or crypto all that much. It did show that the SEC is wholly incompetent, and many of their past officers and probably present officers are corrupt, which makes the SEC look bad as a whole. And Hinman did actually say in the documents that the SEC may not be the best entity to regulate those things. Now, the more important thing is, after Hinman made that speech, the SEC did point to it as guidance, so they can't completely detach themselves from Hinman's letters or Hinman's speech. No wonder they removed Hinman's bio from the SEC's website, because he's probably giving Gary Gensler a lot of headaches. So the thing is, I do think the SEC has to determine whether Ethereum is a security or not. And because there was an agreement, there are probably backdoor agreements and handshaking, the SEC doesn't want to classify Ethereum as a security, probably because of in connection with JP Morgan and other big banks. So the SEC has a headache there. They're being hemmed on one side there. The next side is Binance. Now, Binance has obviously denied all the allegations from the SEC, and they've said the SEC has failed to recognize one time that they've actually commingled customers' funds. And to their credit, the SEC doesn't have physical evidence of that, because unlike SBF, Gary Gensler's boyfriend, they didn't actually lose the customer funds. The customer funds from Binance are all there. People are still able to withdraw perfectly fine. Now, a couple of people have told me that they can't withdraw from Binance.com, but they're using VPNs to get in. If you're using a VPN to get in from the US from Binance.com, it's kind of your fault. You're not supposed to be using Binance.com. It basically has a notice on its website that does not service US customers. And since the SEC is suing them, they're probably tightening the nooses on that. And if you can't withdraw from Binance.us, it's probably because part of the lawsuit, because the SEC is trying to freeze all their assets. So you can kind of blame it on the SEC on that one. So Binance hasn't actually lost any customer funds, and everyone's able to withdraw, and their funds are fully backed. So it's going to be kind of hard for you to say they misused any customer funds because you don't have any proof. And as for the allegation that Binance has sold tons of BNB and other assets to manipulate market price, the SEC also cannot point to a certain instance where they have physical evidence. Now, that's very important for this. They don't really have physical evidence that Binance has actually done such activities. They just go by charts saying hey, it dipped a lot there. We think Binance sold here. But unless Gary Gensler has missed the memo, that doesn't really count as evidence. Just because the price dropped does not mean any specific whale actually sold. They don't really have the the address proof, and they don't really have proof that Binance was actually selling and manipulating the price. For wash trading, they probably can get something because every exchange engages in wash trading. It's probably easier to prove, but to say Binance sold massive amounts to dump the price and then raise it back up, they don't really have any proof of that. And CZ's actually come out on Twitter and said we haven't sold any of our BNB, we haven't even sold any of our FTC or FTX or whatever the coin is. So they don't really have any proof to go against Binance. And after reading the two orders, the judge has actually ordered both the SEC and Binance to work out a compromise because, quote, to actually freeze assets would hurt the industry in a non-repairable way. So the judge is not actually siding with the SEC. The judge did not grant the SEC's injunction, and that's probably giving Gary Gensler a headache as well, because he probably expected to get that injunction and win against Binance, but that's also not going his way. And against Coinbase, this is the other thing. Coinbase, filed a motion for the SEC to give clarity. The SEC's answer of you don't deserve clarity, obviously that didn't fly very well. So they're asking for an extension on Coinbase's request to give clarity. So they're eventually going to have to give it. But since they're so tied up with other legal matters, they don't really have time to do this, and they need extra time to actually respond to Coinbase's request. So they're being attacked on three sides. Their legal team is probably overstressed. They're also being pressured by House Republicans to actually make clarity and to kind of reshift crypto assets. There's also the bill that's like in the back of their head that wants to restructure the SEC and get rid of Gary Gensler. So the SEC is being attacked from multiple sides, and it's under immense pressure, both from oversight from Congress and from the lawsuits that they probably will at least lose one of sometime in the future. And that's not to mention the Grayscale lawsuits and the other offensive activities that crypto has actually taken against the SEC. Also, Cardano wants to pull together a decentralized legal team to actually sue the SEC. I have no idea how that's going to work. I guess they can sue the SEC for not having clear instructions. They can sue the SEC for like affecting the price downwards. Not exactly sure what they're going to do there, but that's just an extra headache for the SEC. So they're being attacked from all sides, and I don't think they're going to come out on top. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you, and have a nice day.